using line plots to analyze growth. So here on the left you can see a chart of Darby's growth. Now this is made up, but this would be March through August. I staggered the measurements so they wouldn't blend together. But in March she grew 1/8 of an inch. April was 1/2 of an inch. May is 1/4 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch, 3/8 of an inch, and 1/4 of an inch. Now we are going to use that to actually create our line plot. Now I have my chart already set up here, and since we're counting by eighths, I figured it only made sense. So let's go ahead and do eighths. So if this would be 0, this would be 1. And this would just go 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, until we have our entire line plot labeled the whole way up to 7/8. So now what I'll do, just like in our previous video where we were looking at line plots, we are just going to take each number, each piece of data in this line plot, and we're going to represent it with an X. So I have 1/8 for March, so I put an X at 1/8. Then I have an X at 1/2, which is the same as 4/8. Then I have one at 1/4, which is also 2/8. Then I have another 1/8. Then I have 3/8. Then I have another one at 1/4. So then, now that we plotted this data, we can ask ourselves, or ask you, how much did Darby grow in 6 months? So now this becomes an addition problem. Now I can use my number from our chart here, but since I did some converting in my line plot, I can go ahead and use that. So I had 2 1/8, so now I'm just going to write out everything I had in my line plot. And when we add this straight across, we know that our denominator will be an 8, and then however you choose to do it, it's up to you, but we just need to add all these numerators up. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, and then we have 13. So it's 13/8, which equals 1 5/8. And I mentioned that this was in inches. So Darby would have grown 1 5/8 inches. Now we can see who is paying attention. So now we're going to, again, we're using line plots to analyze the growth. And here, instead of Darby's height, we're looking at a plant's growth. And again, this would be in inches. I forgot to type that in there. So in March it grew 3/8 of an inch, and then April was 1/2 an inch, 1/4 of an inch, 7/8 of an inch. July was 3/4 of an inch, and August was 5/8 of an inch. Now the one piece that I will help you with is I will help you label your line plot, and then the rest is for you. I would like you to go ahead. I would like you to, on a piece of paper, draw this line plot with your X's, and you'll need to label as we're about to do now. And then I would also like you to find, as we can see right here, how much did the plant grow in the 6 months. So let's get back to labeling here. Again, I have starts at 0, ends in 1, and we'll just go ahead and label 1/8, 2/8. Since my number line, I turned everything into eighths, you may want to or need to go back to our chart here and change everything to eighths. So 1/2 we can rewrite as 4/8. And 1/4 we could do times 2 times 2, and that's the same as 2/8. 7/8 looks good, and we have one more to adjust here. 3/4 is the same as multiplying by 2 over 2, which would give us 6/8. So now that we converted everything to eighths, you should hopefully be able to accurately put your X's where they belong on our line plot, and then work with those numbers to determine how much did this plant grow in 6 months. Just to make sure we have not forgotten about our powers of 10 and multiplying and dividing, we are going to do 6 practice ones here. And as our reminder, whenever we multiply, we are going to the right, and whenever we divide, we are moving that decimal to the left, and our exponent is the one that tells us how many to move, how many, I like to call it hops, or you can say the how many places that decimal is going to move. So first I'm going to start by rewriting my problem. 42.1, or 42 1/10, multiply, I'm moving it to the right, 3 hops, I draw that in, 1, 2, 3. Any of those empty spots, I need to go ahead and fill those in with zeros. And my final answer will be 42,100. Now let's come over to this next one. I am moving to the left now, and I'm moving to the left 3 hops. So I start at my decimal, 1, 2, 3. Again, just like we did before, I need to fill those empty hops with zeros to hold my place value, and I'm going to rewrite my answer as 0.00137, and we always like to put that 0 in front just so we don't lose that decimal point. Let's come down to our next one. We have division, so we are hopping that decimal to the left, and we are going left 2 hops, so we go 1, 2, and we rewrite that answer as 3 and 854 thousandths. Moving right along to the next one here, I'm going to rewrite this. Now, we don't have a decimal point, but remember, we kind of do. We just don't write it because it's not necessary, but it's really 74.0. So once we do that, we can go ahead, we can show our hops, 1, 2, 3, 4, fill in those empty spots with my zeros, and our answer is 740,000. We have 2 left here. We have 7 9/10 times, so we're moving to the right. How many hops? This is an interesting one. We are moving to the right 0 hops, so what that means is we are multiplying our 7 9/10 by 1, or it's staying the same. The decimal isn't going anywhere. Very nice. And let's look at our last one here. We have 42 hundredths dividing, so we are going left 1 hop, taking it here, hopping it over, and we will rewrite that as decimal point 42 thousandths, and we like to put that 0 in to make sure that we do not forget our decimal point. So again, between our line plots and our review with our multiplying and dividing by powers of 10, I hope this helps.